Hey, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are checking out 5 upcoming Marvel Omnibuses that personally I'm very much looking forward to. So without further ado, let's take a look at these books. Alright guys, coming in at number 5, we have Excalibur Omnibus Volume 3, which should be releasing this September, and this collects Excalibur, that 1988 series, number 68 to 103, annuals number 1 and 2, X-Men Unlimited number 4, XFactor 106, X-Force number 38, X-Men 12, Pride and Wisdom 1 through 3, and material from Marvel Comics Presents 174, and Marvel Holiday Special 1996. And for those who don't know, Excalibur is this really awesome team of mutants who pool together after the Mutant Massacre event, and the team originally consists of Captain Britain, Megan, Nightcrawler, Kitty Pryde, and Rachel Summers. This series takes place in England, and it is just like really unique. It's super funny. The adventures of it are really entertaining. There is that character drama that is inherent to X-Men stories that are great. And this is also one of Marvel's most promiscuous comics, I think, at the time, if you catch my drift. Now, I should add here, this is the only material that I have not read on this list so far, and that's just because I read Excalibur in the omnibus format. So I read the first 2, I'm waiting to read the 3rd, so there is, a possibility that the quality really diminishes here. I did notice a bit of diminishing from volume 1 to volume 2 as it gets later on in the series, but I still really enjoyed volume 2, so I'm hoping I'll still really enjoy volume 3. And coming in at number 4, I promise not everything on this list is mutant related, but, if you're familiar with this channel, you shouldn't be surprised. Anyway, at number 4, we've got Uncanny XForce by Rick Remender, which should be coming out this July. Usually on this channel, when I'm talking about how I started reading X-Men, I talk about the Grant Morrison New X-Men Omnibus, since that is really the first X-Men Omnibus that I bought with the intention of reading X-Men. But when I was younger, I actually did buy this Uncanny X-Force Omnibus, and I read it very disconnected from knowing anything about any of these mutant characters. Didn't even really know it was considered an X-Men book, like I didn't know the difference between X-Men and X-Force, and I kind of just looked at this as a solo story, one-off thing, read it, then didn't really look at the characters ever again. But obviously, they're really popular characters in the X-Men mythos, but even, that disconnected, I thought this was phenomenal back then. I was so emotionally affected by it as well. It was really strong with the storytelling aspect of it. It is Wolverine, Deadpool, Psylocke, Archangel, and Phantom X, and you should just really consider checking it out if you're a fan of the mutants or otherwise, because this is just such like a dynamic and unpredictable group that makes for, like I said, phenomenal storytelling. And also the sort of pitch of this series is that they are this group of mutants that is operating between moral boundaries. This is the X-Men that take care of things that are a little more ambiguous than black and white, and they're just trying to protect mutant kind in sometimes destructive methods. This omnibus is a really popular omnibus, I think. It's been reprinted a few times now, and it always goes out of print pretty quickly, I think, so if you're even considering it, I'd say snatch it up when it releases. And at number 3, we have the Fantastic Four Omnibus by Wade and Waringo, which should be coming out this May. This omnibus collects the 1998 Fantastic Four series, number 60 through 70, and 500 to 524, and the 500 Director's Cut. I don't know if this is a controversial opinion, because this run is considered really phenomenal, but I think I like this Fantastic Four run just a tiny bit more than Jonathan Hickman's run, which I also really love, so I think that should say a lot about the quality of this book. I just think this book does a really masterful job of handling the family aspects of the Fantastic Four while also delivering really satisfying and unique sci-fi and sci-fi horror, honestly, at some point, concepts in the book. And if you're a fan of Doom, which if you're a fan of the Fantastic Four, what is a Fantastic Four book without Doom? Well, he's got quite the storyline in this omnibus. It's really insane. One of the coolest and scariest Doom plot lines that goes on. I highly recommend it. He gets a new suit of armor in here that is really intense. Just do yourself a favor, pick this one up and give it a read. And coming in at number 2, we have the Daredevil Omnibus by Brian Michael Bendis. This reprint is coming out this July, and this omnibus collects Daredevil number 16 through 19 and 26 through 60. If you're really interested in starting Daredevil and you've heard about like the amazing consistency of Daredevil writers and these Daredevil runs, you can start here. I'm personally a huge fan of Bendis, and this is the period of Daredevil where it's just really fantastic. You've got these Bendis omnibuses. This leads into the Brubaker omnibuses. That leads into Shadowland, which is not great. But hey, Bendis, Brubaker, oh, beautiful. And there's more good Daredevil stuff before and after, so you'll have plenty of opportunity to read some amazing Daredevil stories if you continue reading Marvel Comics. If you're at all curious about this book and you're wondering, hey, like, you know, I'm kind of interested in Daredevil, but I'm not sure I'm gonna like a Daredevil series. I'm not sure if I like that crime story, thriller, law story thing they've got going on. Well, I would highly recommend you at least seek out volume 1 of this book and read that, because it is super unique in the way that it tells its story. The artwork is very abstract, this cool watercolor stuff that is really, it pops off the page. And it's just this really good emotionally charged story told through the eyes of Ben Urich, I believe, about this incident with this child and Daredevil and Leapfrog, and I don't want to spoil too much, but it's complex, it's gripping, and it is a great little sort of introduction to the rest of the omnibus. And at our number 1 slot, I am pivoting back to Mutants, baby, but actually, Mutant Hunters. But actually, they're the mutants. I'm of course talking about the upcoming XFactor Omnibus Volume 1, which should be releasing toward the end of July. And this book collects Avengers number 263, Fantastic Four number 286, XFactor number 1 through 26, and Annual number 1 and 2, Iron Man Annual number 8, Amazing Spider-Man 282, Thor 373 through 374, and 377 and 378, Power Pack number 27 and 35, Mephisto vs. number 2, Incredible Hulk number 336 and 337, Secret Wars 2 number 5, and material from Marvel Fanfare number 40 and Classic X-Men number 8 and 43. This is going to be a decently thick omnibus, guys. I think it's going to come in at around 1,250 pages. I'm excited for this one. And for those confused about my introduction and with them being mutant hunters despite them being mutants, well, that is baked into the premise of the book, and that's part of what makes this really interesting, and it's part of what makes things really complex for the characters and for just everyone involved in all of this. But it's super fun, and I'm of course laughing because I know everything that goes on in here, and I just really enjoy it, and I think there's a lot of humor in what goes on, and there's so much charm in this book. I love seeing the interactions of the original 5 X-Men again at this later state after them having gone through a lot. But yeah, basically their idea was to pose as mutant hunters so that they could, you know, get the alert when someone wants a mutant eradicated or captured or whatever it is. They could go there and they could actually, instead of doing that, facilitate a safe escape for that mutant, sort of take them under their wing, etc., whatever they need to do. And, you know, in that we get Leech, we get Richter, we get Boom Boom, who are characters I have always really enjoyed, and they have their own interesting relationships with each other and the other members of XFactor, and it's really fun to read. And of course, there's also very classic Apocalypse and the Four Horsemen stuff in here, and stuff with Angel, which if you know, you know. If you don't know, I'm excited for you to read and find out how that all plays a role in the mythos and history of X-Men. I will say that there are a lot of X-Factor issues collected in other X-Men omnibuses, so there's a good chance that you may have already read a lot of X-Factor, but probably not in a continuous run like this, because to my knowledge there hasn't been any omnibus that has collected at least the first 10 or so X-Factor issues. But like I said, if you've read, you know, Mutant Massacre or Fall of the Mutants or Inferno, there are a lot of X-Factor issues that are embedded into those stories, because X-Factor plays a role in all those stories really, and maybe this is just best for us X-Men obsessed completionists. Alright guys, those are my top 5 upcoming omnibuses that I'm most looking forward to. I would love to hear from you all. What are some omnibuses that you see on the horizon that you are really interested in getting? Drop a comment below, let me know, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys, and you have a great rest of your day.